Introduction to the sense of agency. The sense of agency is your feeling of control over your actions and their outcomes. It represents the connection between your thoughts and your physical actions in the world. The sense of agency is a core part of being self aware. It helps us navigate social situations by understanding our impact on others. Understanding the sense of agency is crucial because it shapes how we perceive the world, behave, and take responsibility for our actions. This understanding also extends to how we interact with technology, like computers and AI systems. The sense of agency is your feeling of control over your actions and their outcomes. It's fundamental to how we experience ourselves and interact with the world. What is we agency? To understand we agency, we first need to look at individual agency. When a person performs an action alone, they experience a sense of, I did this. Recent research explores we agency, which is the idea that when people work together, their individual senses of agency can merge. So instead of I did this, it becomes we did this. The sense of agency transforms from individual to collective. However, some researchers are questioning whether we agency is a real phenomenon, or if it's better to just think of it as individuals working together while maintaining their separate senses of agency. These differing views have led to important research questions about the nature of agency when people collaborate. Whether we agency exists as a distinct phenomenon or not, exploring this question helps us better understand the complex nature of human collaboration and shared action. The sense of agency has two distinct aspects: the feeling of agency and the judgment of agency. The feeling of agency, or FOA, is a basic non-thinking feeling of being in control. It's directly linked to your body's movements and sensory processes. In contrast, the judgment of agency, or JOA, is a more complex, thought-out judgment about whether you cause something to happen. These two aspects involve different brain processes. The feeling of agency relies on sensoromotor areas involved in movement, while the judgment of agency engages higher cognitive processes. Let's look at some examples. The feeling of agency is the immediate sensation you have when moving your hand. You don't think about it, you just feel in control of the movement. The judgment of agency comes into play in situations like spilling a glass of water. You assess whether you were responsible by considering factors like whether you bumped the glass, if someone else moved it, or if it was placed unstably. To summarize the key differences, the feeling of agency is automatic and pre-reflective, happening in the moment. The judgment of agency is deliberate and reflective, often occurring after the fact. Intentional binding and sensory attenuation are two phenomena that provide insight into our sense of agency. Intentional binding occurs when we perceive the time between our voluntary actions and their effects as shorter than it actually is. For example, if you press a button that causes a sound, you'll perceive the button press and sound as occurring closer together in time than they actually did. Sensory attenuation refers to how sensations caused by our own actions feel less intense than identical sensations caused by external sources. The classic example is tickling. You simply cannot tickle yourself as effectively as someone else can tickle you. Both intentional binding and sensory attenuation are closely tied to our sense of agency, our feeling of control over our actions. Intentional binding serves as an implicit marker of agency, meaning it happens automatically when we feel in control of our actions. Sensory attenuation helps our brain distinguish between actions we perform ourselves and those performed by others. Both phenomena typically operate outside of our conscious awareness, yet they profoundly shape our sense of self and interaction with the world. The sense of agency is directly tied to responsibility. How we perceive our control over actions fundamentally shapes how we understand accountability. It helps us distinguish our actions from those of others. This distinction is essential for understanding who is responsible for what. Agency is essential for holding people accountable for their actions. Our legal, social, and ethical systems depend on the assumption that individuals have control over what they do. When agency is reduced due to factors like coercion, manipulation, or certain disorders, it becomes more difficult to assign responsibility. If you don't feel a sense of agency over your actions, it's harder to take responsibility for them. The impact of AI on agency. AI and automation are changing how we experience agency in fundamental ways. As artificial intelligence takes on more complex tasks, it's important to understand how this shift affects our sense of control. Some experts worry that AI could be designed in ways that reduce human control over important decisions, potentially diminishing our sense of agency. This is why it's crucial to have safeguards in place to ensure human oversight remains at the center of AI systems. Our first example involves hand-to-screen mapping experiments. Researchers use specialized gloves to track hand movements and map them to a screen. As participants move their hands, the cursor follows on screen. Through motor exploration in this unfamiliar environment, participants develop a sense of self-agency. Our second example comes from studies of expert mountain bikers. These athletes navigate challenging terrain while maintaining a high sense of agency. Unlike novices, skilled mountain bikers are simultaneously aware of multiple factors influencing their actions, such as terrain conditions, weather, bike mechanics, skill level, and physical condition. This awareness doesn't diminish their sense of agency. In fact, it enhances it. They incorporate these multiple causal influences into their decision-making while maintaining control. Our final example examines how a patient's sense of agency evolved during psychotherapy for bulimia nervosa. The case study identified distinct phases in the patient's relationship with their symptoms. Initially, the patient felt controlled by their symptoms, with minimal sense of agency. As therapy progressed, the patient developed awareness and recognition of their condition, gradually gaining a greater sense of agency. By the recovery phase, they felt significantly more in control of their responses to triggers. This case demonstrates how the sense of agency can evolve through therapeutic intervention, transforming from being controlled by symptoms to exercising control over one's responses. The future of human agency is at a critical crossroads. According to a 2022 Accenture report, a growing number of people want more control over their lives. However, according to a Pew Research Center survey from 2023, 56% of experts believe that by 2035, AI systems will not be designed to allow humans to easily control technology-aided decision-making. To address these concerns, it's important to prioritize 4 key elements in the development of artificial intelligence. Human oversight, ensuring humans maintain control over AI systems. Transparency, making AI decision-making processes clear and understandable. Fairness, ensuring AI systems treat all individuals and groups equitably. And accountability, having clear responsibility for AI decisions and their consequences. The future of human agency depends on striking the right balance between technological advancement and human control.